Hold on. Hold on. Restream. Am I live? Just going to wait a moment here. Oh, look, there I am. I'm live, which means I'm live on Facebook, and I'll be live on the YouTube very soon. It's sending the data. All right, I should be live everywhere. Hey, everybody. So I had a question the other day on, is it worth it to play fast? And what do you get when you're able to play fast? And here's the thing. I'm not the fastest player in the world. I'm probably not even the fastest player in Hagerstown. Most likely not even the fastest person in my bedroom. But we don't know. That is yet to be confirmed. Look at that. You can see me now. So anyway, I wanted to show you on maybe the mechanics on how to learn how to play a little bit faster if you did indeed want to play faster. And there's a few different things you need to consider. The guitar is one, and the things that you use to use the guitar is the other thing. So I'm going to kind of describe a little bit about what that is. So I'm going to go back down. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Now you're here. I thought that this angle might be the best to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So when it comes to the guitar, if you want to play like really, really fast, and one of the things you have to do, and I say have to do, you really don't have to do it, but it's probably advantageous if you're just starting out, setting up your guitar, things like that. String height. So the action of your string, you probably want it to be as low as possible without buzzing out. You should be able to bend strings without having to bottom out. The action on this Les Paul is not really set to be a fast guitar. I kind of like the high action on here. If you can see the bridge, that's screwed all the way to the top here. There's nothing here to get in my way. That's all the way out. If you're not too sure where your action should be, and you kind of want to change your action if you don't like what you have, take your guitar to an authorized guitar fix-it man or fix-it woman, and they'll be able to hook you up. The other thing that I recommend is, again, I say recommend, it's not necessary. I think the lighter the string, most likely the faster you would be able to play. These are 11s or 12s. Again, not really set to be all that fast. If you want to get the maximum intonation with your guitar and the string height, the action, then what I would recommend is changing your, you can't see it, almost had it, change the nut on your guitar. I use not the standard or the stock nuts that come with the guitars. I have my guitars fitted, or at least this one's not fitted with it, but my Nighthawk is fitted with it's almost like a 0 fret nut that's in there. There's a guiding nut that's made of bone. It's cut to width, spaced properly, and there's like a 0 fret there, which helps to bring the intonation more accurate across the entire fretboard. It's a little bit easier to play sometimes. I highly recommend that. The next thing we need to talk about is the pick. So I have my let me try that again. I have my Boxo pick in my Altoid case. So in here is where I kind of keep my picks because it's easy to keep them all in one spot. We're going to talk about a light pick. We're going to talk about a variable pick. One of my favorites is the greenie. And another one of my favorites is the, if I can get it out, little black stiffy. And I got another variable here with just a different type of, made of a different material. So that's what I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about the light pick. If you have thick strings and you want to play fast, I would think then the lighter pick is the way to go. This is a, I can't read that. What is that? 60 millimeter, I think is what that says. And the reason you want a lighter pick is because if you have a heavy pick, let me get my heavy pick. I don't have the heaviest pick with me. But this, the little thing, Jazz 3, is probably the heaviest pick I have, the thickest one at least, more solid. If I were to use this on a thick string, this is going to be like brick on brick, okay? So which means that I push down with the pick to glide over the string, and it's kind of like train meets train. Which one's going to give first? So that's why if you went with a heavy gauge string, a light pick is better, I believe. If you went with a light gauge string, then you can start working with the heavier picks. So I'm going to illustrate here with this relatively light pick. Again, it's like 60 millimeters. If I take this pick, I'm going to grip it at the top, which is something I normally don't do unless I'm playing acoustic. If I grip it at the top and I drag it down the string, you'll see, and I'm going to really dig into this, you'll see that the pick flexes. And if this were a light string with a light pick, then the string's going to give a lot, and then the pick's going to give. And this is going to be kind of mush to try and get this pick to go over the string. It's going to take a while. Got heavy strings on here, so this is kind of going to be a little bit better. So that's the deal with the light pick. I very rarely use these unless I'm strumming acoustic. Even if I'm strumming acoustic, I just dropped a pick. I'll use one of my other picks. This is another good pick that I like. This is the, I call this the green. This is the Tortex 0.88 millimeter. I've been using actually these for probably the longest of any pick that I've used. I think I started using these somewhere before college. I just kind of moved on to other picks at some other point. The nice thing about this is that the tip, even though this is it's an 0.88 millimeter, which I think they consider this a medium or medium heavy or something like that. The tip is not all that pointed. So you could kind of glide along the bottom part of this pick. You see if I just kind of take the pick, angle it a little bit. There's enough roundness on the bottom to get the pick to just kind of glide over the string. And the pick is solid enough to where you're getting good action and good contact on the string. So I don't know if you could hear that. I'm going to do that with the light pick. And with the light pick, you'll see it's a little bit, I can feel the difference. It's a little bit harder. And because this is a heavier string, this isn't all that bad. It's actually working a little bit better. But if this were light string, light pick, it would be a little mushy there. And to kind of prove that point, go ahead and take whatever pick that you normally use. And don't pick with this edge, pick with that edge. Pick with this. And you'll kind of see what a dull, mushy... You can kind of hear the fan. It's like being fanned. Glide's really easy. I mean, there's really no friction there. But there's also not a whole lot of definition or percussiveness in the sound. So that's those two. Here's one I like. Again, this is the Jazz 3 pick. It's a small pick, but it's got a sharp point to it. So that point is really sharp. The point makes it actually glide over the string a certain way, which is actually very percussive. You can kind of hear that's louder than the other two picks that I used. The bad thing about this is if you kind of use it wrong, it doesn't really sound all that good. But you can put less effort into picking and gliding this over the string, heavy strings and light strings, to get a good percussive sound. Now the pick that I'm using more these days are going to be one of these Deva picks. The Deva is kind of a variable thickness pick, I guess. If you hold it towards the top, it reacts like a light pick. So there's a lot of give there. The more you hold it towards the bottom, it's a pretty stiff pick. And it kind of has a decent tip. It's not as rounded as the Tortex. It's not as pointy or sharp as the Jazz 3. It's got a little bit of broadness to it. It does have an edge there. And because of that, it kind of has the best of a few different worlds. It's got a pointy end to add with the percussiveness. It's wide enough to where it kind of helps to glide over the string a little bit better. And I also like these picks because I can grip them a little bit easier. It's kind of what they're made for. So I'm just going to give you a little naked run with that. And I'm holding this towards the bottom of the pick. And I'm not really gripping it tight. I'm just kind of letting it do all the action just like that. So that's the basics of the mechanics of using something like that. So let's talk about... Wish I knew my guitar better. Let's talk about some exercises that you can do. Once you pick the guitar you like, the strings you like, the action you like, the pick you like, the first thing you want to do is to... I probably recommend the third string, which is going to be a G string. This guitar, by the way, is in gent mode. I think it's a whole step down. So what I would recommend first is to go to that third string and just play that string open and get used to how your pick glides over the string. Now when you do this, a lot of people recommend getting the pick to be perpendicular with the string, exactly perpendicular. And I remember reading that in a lot of the old guitar magazines. I think I still have some old guitar magazines that kind of say that, to get the pick perpendicular to the string. I don't think you necessarily have to do that. A lot of times when I pick, I'm on an angle. So either the pick's on an angle like this, or I kind of have this negative angle for the pick. In all cases though, the pick is always like that. It's got a forward slant and never a backward slant. And again, this is just me. I find it hard to play with a backward slant effectively 100% of the time. Yeah, I think it's just my hand's not made that way. If yours is, then I'm not going to stop you. But for me, the back slant is not good. The front slant is good. So, get a metronome out. I don't have my metronome with me. I should have had a metronome. Oh well. Get a metronome out and just kind of start at a comfortable pace. And when you feel comfortable with that, then speed it up a little bit. And eventually you'll be able to kind of get to a comfortable speed that is comfortable for you, sounds good, and would be your starting point to get even faster if you wanted to. Or you could find that this is fast enough for you. If that isn't, that's fine. You're good to go. But really think about how your pick is. So again, I was talking about some of the leans here. Sometimes I'll lean the pick forward like this, which is how I used to start picking. I used to use Fender mediums. They were pinks. I loved them. Other than the fact that they wouldn't stay in my hand because they're celluloid picks, I guess. And they just kind of ended up slipping a lot. But when I used those, I kind of had this brush technique. Brushing the string. And when I went to do an upstroke, it kind of grabbed the side of the pick here. And it kind of made a cool sound. And I still sometimes do that if I want that sound. Sometimes I'll use the greens to do that as well. At some point I was trying to just find a different way to play. And I was doing a lot of studying of other people's right-hand techniques. And one of the things I ended up doing for myself was to do this negative pitch. Now again, the pick itself is on that front slant, but instead of being leaned down, I kind of leaned it up a little bit. And if I leaned it up, I had to kind of pull my thumb up a little bit to make room. So I was kind of pushing the pick down, if you will. So instead of doing this to get the pick to go, I was kind of doing that, pushing down on the pick. And that worked for me for a while. And again, depending on how I want the pick to sound or what I'm trying to do, I will still do that. One of the benefits of that is that your thumb rests on these top strings and they're kind of muted. So that thumb will help to meet these bottom strings as well as your palm muting. The benefit of the slant down is your hand kind of also slants with it, and you can do these percussive picks with your palm. So there's some cool things you can do there. That was a little sloppy. My apologies for that. All right, so exercises and things to do to kind of put that in action. So once you have all that down, the next thing that you would do is to run your fingers on the fretboard, because you have to have good timing. You have to time your left hand with your right hand, and all that jazz. So the first thing I would recommend is do like a 3-note per string pattern, and I would just use your first, second, and third finger for this, and do a series of picks on each note. And then do that up the neck. So I would probably start closer to the first fret and do that. So you're using these notes. You can't really see it too well in the thing. So do the first fret, third fret, maybe the fifth fret. You know, just go where your dots are. That's probably a good idea. If you're running short on time, third fret, seventh fret, somewhere up here fret. You know, but the key is to kind of get that sync with your fingers and your right hand. And then once you're able to do that, shorten the duration of the number of attacks with your right hand. So I forget what I did. Shorten it up. All the way across. Shorten it up, and then eventually you're kind of doing one by one. And if you're doing one by one, I would make it a bit more musical. So what I would do is a pattern that would maybe go up 4 and then back down, and then start on the next string, up 4 and then down. So the pattern would be something like that. Alright, so actually it's 1, 2, 3. Up 4, all the way down, up the next string. And then you can start down here. Next string. Same sequence. Now, the thing for me, and what I recommend, is when you get to your second string, go ahead and do the half shift up, because that's the way your guitar is tuned. And you just have to get used to that anyway, because if you're doing normal scales or anything else, you have to remember to shift up. There's a lot of similar practice techniques that just get you to go, you know, straight across. I think it's important to do that shift when you get to your second string. So if you're to do that exercise, go and keep that perfect fourth thing going. So here's that exercise again. So it's up 4. Okay, and then all the way up. Try to get your metronome out, work on that. Once you do that, then you can kind of do things that are a bit more musical, so like doing something that's more diatonic, yeah? So you could actually use the major scale. I'm going to go ahead and switch legs. Look at that. Look at that, everyone. I'm a leg switcher. So I'm going to go up here now. You can see that, yeah. So here's your major scale if you're starting on the 10th fret. Right, and that's going to be 3 per string. If it went all the way across the neck, and again, that half step shift has to happen. So if you do that same pattern, it's still the same. It's going to be sequenced, so it's going to be up 4, all the way down, up to the next string. That's it. And then all the way over. That was a little sloppy. Ah, that was sloppy again. This is something again I need to work on too. Ah. Ah. Anyway, hopefully you get the idea. And you can do that with any other pattern. If you want to do it with the minor, you can. Look at that. Look at that. Look how fast I'm going. Alright, so the key things again. String height, string action, maybe a 0 fret if you want that. Make sure your lighter strings might be better if you want to play faster. The pick, how you hold it. And if you notice, when I just did this earlier, I had a pretty good speed. Alright, but I wasn't doing anything with it. I was just hitting one string. And that's why you have to put some of the other exercises into it, so that you can make it a bit more musical. Alright, so that was my thing on speed. And why would you... Oh, by the way, I forgot. Thank you, X5, for making such a wonderful product. Why do you want to play fast? Why would you want to play fast? Why is it beneficial? Is it beneficial? All that jazz. And the answer is, if you can play at a certain level for a certain speed, with good articulation, it sounds good and it feels good, then it's just easier to play different languages. There's a language of speed, there's a language of playing slow. You want to have all these different languages that you play on guitar so that you're a bit more versatile when you play. And when I was teaching martial arts a long time ago, I had this theory that if you could kick high, and really kicking high isn't a very practical thing, but if you could kick high, then you should be able to have more control when you're kicking low, if that makes sense. So on guitar, I find that that could be the case as well. If you can play fast, you should be able to have a bit more control when you're playing slow. I think that depends on the person. I know some people that they just wanted to learn how to play fast. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll play that slow, and they can't do it. So there's a problem there. I know some people that can play fast, and that's all they learn how to do is play fast, and I've asked them to play it slow, and they could do that. So slow and fast, they kind of go almost hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. You need both. You need to have the musicality of some slow passage that makes sense. Every now and then, though, you kind of want to put the sizzle on it and do something fast. Again, this guitar really isn't built for speed. It's got heavy strings. It's got a relatively high action. One thing I have considered doing is doing an overwrap on this part here. An overwrap is when you take the string and push it through the front part, and then the string comes out the top. The break angle becomes less severe than here. And some people are saying with a lesser break angle than the more loosey-goosey string. I don't know if that's true. I know some people that do it and they love it. Also, they say that the overwrap kind of helps with the sustain a little bit. But I mean, this is Les Paul, which kind of has a fairly dense, I would say, consistent sustain. And I say that because Fenders also sustain. A lot of guitars sustain. I think that with some Fenders, though, the initial attack might be a little bit different, so it sounds like it's dying off quickly, and I don't. That may not be the case. So I'm still here. I'm just going to noodle for a little bit. If you want to ask some questions, ask away in YouTube, Facebook. I'll see all your questions on my system here. By the way, and I can't see if you're with me, so you have to say hi. If you don't say hi, I got no idea that anyone is really watching this. Right, so I'm just going to noodle until it's time for me to make my hot chocolate. if you have a question, please ask in the open. Wait a minute. Ask in the open. Don't send me a message. Sometimes I don't see the message. Anyway, someone sent me a message about the guitar collaboration that I did. Yeah, so I got a shout out from. Thanks, Chris. I got a shout out from a friend of mine in Europe who's putting together an instrumental song. The song's done, by the way, and he's edited. He's edited one person who kind of won the contest. The person did a great solo, by the way. All the cool stuff that you'd want in a solo, and it kind of fits perfectly in there. He's also going to take everyone's collaboration ideas and kind of make a bigger song out of it. So as soon as that's done, I'll be able to post that and share that. There's a lot of other cool guitar players on there. I've heard some of the other stuff, and it sounds really cool. So when that's available, I will have that ready for all of you to see. Someone is out of tune. Let me tune up. Let me tune up with my tuna. That's D. That's G. That's hello C. Ah. That's a sharp C. There's the C. That's a little low F, but I like my F a little low. That's an A. That's a D. Let's get out of tuner mode. That's the problem with the F. I haven't played this guitar in a while. I just wrote a song. I just wrote a song. There it is. You know what? I want my delay back on. You know, I've been thinking about getting the thing that Jennifer Batten used to sell. It was an X something or other. You would take it. Look at that. You would put it on the your guitar here, and it would kind of flip down and kind of help you to dampen the strings when you're playing certain things. Marty Friedman, when he was playing in Megadeth and some of his own stuff, instead of doing that when he was in the studio, he would just have some dude sit there, put their hand there. That way, you know, it will kind of help to mute any open string in case you hit it. Maybe I'll do that when I'm playing. I'll just have someone in the crowd just kind of come up and hold my guitar for me. That'd be cool. Ah, there it is again. Ah, that one's smooth. I like that. I'm gonna use that somewhere. Ah. So there's another question then that came in is, why do I slide instead of just use the next string? Two reasons. When I was in college, I did a lot of study on Django Reinhardt, who only had 2 usable fingers, and he had to do a lot of that. And some of that, I think, just stuck with me. The other reason was when I was in certain other local bands, like Short Bus Militia, Sexual Chocolate, and bands like that, for some reason, I stopped wearing my guitar as high as I normally did before, and I kind of slung it a little low. And I found that when I did that, it's kind of hard to play with my other fingers. I mean, it was hard just to play with, normal fingers. But it looked cool. And, my ego kind of got in the way, and that's what I did. But that is also why I started the slides, just so I can hit these other notes. I do that also when I'm here, because it's easier to do that than what I used to do was that. Right? So what I would do is and slide down and slide down. Here's that slide again. There it is. Whereas before I would have just done this. I can't do it now. My fat's in the way. It's also a little faster if you do that, because you get a little trill, half trill kind of thing, and then this, and then just kind of. Little George Lynch action going on. Watch, if you have a chance, go to Jay Parmar's video, YouTube video spot. He does a lot of that cool stuff as well. Sounds really good. He just got an endorsement, I think, through Vader Guitars. Some pretty cool guitars he's playing. He's also built some cool guitars that look nice. Alright, it's time for me to make my hot chocolate. Thanks for everyone that joined. Hope you found something useful there. Please don't forget to go to Planet Solanki and like and all that stuff there on the Facebook page. Go to the YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, all the cool stuff you can do on YouTube. If you're looking at this on my personal Facebook, know that you'll see the video and it's kind of going to go away. So you got to go to Planet Solanki if you want to rewatch it. I think that's it. What's coming up? Not this weekend, but I think next weekend, Stiff Deals will be at the Woods Resort in Hedgesville. I believe that's where that is. And the next month, the episode of the Creative Coast podcast that I was on should make its way on the internet airwaves, however that happens. And I'll post a link to that as well and get that shared. Also go to the LCT band page to see what's going on there. Go to Maryland Institute of Music if you're interested in music lessons from any of the fine instructors there, as well as myself. And I think that's it. That's all I got for today. It's hot chocolate time, bitches. All right. Love you all. Oh, actually the button's right on this side.